pop-up asking you for permission to be recorded. Thank you for reminding me, Lynn. Okay, so go ahead and Lynn, take it away.
Okay, so we thought, since this is the very first webinar series that we're doing with the tutors, that it might be nice to quickly introduce ourselves. There are 16 people logged on, so if you could just tell us quickly your name, how long you've been a tutor, and what subjects you teach, and even which agency you're from. I am the presenter. My name's Lynn Watson. I work out of Newcastle, Pennsylvania, and that's on the western part of the state. And I have been working with tutors since the tutor started. So it's been fun. And currently I am teaching ESL and math classes along with other duties. So if somebody else would like to take a turn and quickly just tell us your name and how long, we're only going to spend a couple of minutes on this.
So I'll go. Oh, go ahead, Don.
Hi, my name's Don. I've been a tutor for about 2 years with the Employment Skills Center in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I teach right now reading and English language learning, and I have done math in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Somebody else?
So I'll go next. I'm Lisa Morse. I'm a tutor coordinator at Literacy Pittsburgh. I've been working in this role for over 5 years now. I occasionally teach, generally ESL reading, but mostly I supervise tutors who work with students.
Welcome. Somebody else?
I'm Bernice Johnson. I'm in Lancaster. I've been tutoring with the Literacy Council the past couple of years. I'm working with a couple of students right now on writing and on science. I'd like to get their GED.
Thank you.
I'm Robin Chiavetta. I work with the adult tutoring program in Exton, Pennsylvania. We're part of the Chester County OIC, and I'm the assistant coordinator of the tutoring program. So I'm not tutoring, but I'm supporting tutors.
Thank you. I recognize Beth. Hi.
Good morning, Lynn and everybody. Hi, I'm Beth Hinton. I'm the tutor coordinator at the Employment Skills Center of Carlisle, and I've been in that role as a volunteer and a staff member for a little over the past year. And I am not currently tutoring with a student. I'm performing more of a supportive role with tutors and classroom aides.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm Annette Reiff from Tri-County OIC in Harrisburg. So hello, Beth and Don. We're part of the same consortium. I'm also not a tutor. I'm a tutor coordinator. I've been doing this for, gosh, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, I guess.
Thank you. Welcome.
My name is Cindy, and I can't change the heading here. Sorry, it won't work. But I'm working at, it's called Beyond Literacy now. And I started tutoring about 2.5 years ago when I retired from my usual work. So I've never been a teacher or anything before, and I'm sort of learning as I go and enjoying it tremendously. And I've done some of the STAR training. So it's been
awesome.
Really wonderful. Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
My name is Lee. I've been working as a tutor for about 6 months with OIC in Chester County, and I teach ESL and math.
Thank you. Welcome. Anybody else?
My name is Hannah Gerbyshuk. I am also not a tutor currently. I'm the director of volunteer and community programs at Literacy Pittsburgh, so I oversee the tutoring program. But I've taught all levels of ESL and citizenship in the past.
Thank you. Welcome. Anybody else? Then we'll go ahead and go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sylvie Zackley. I'm the tutor coordinator at Keystone Opportunity Center in Souderton. And I've been doing this for ever, since 2000.
I know the feeling. Welcome.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and get started, and everybody, welcome. We're glad you're here today. We're just going to talk today about a couple of 3 resources. And what we're going to do, instead of just talking about them, we're going to tell a little bit about the resource, and then to also go in and actually log on to the site so that you can see some of the different components to it that you'll need when you're going to use it. So Quizzes is a fun online assessment tool. It's easy to create, it's easy to use. The big thing about Quizzes is they call it a gamified student engagement. Because it's like a game, and the students, they get an access code, and then they play the game. And as an instructor, you can see how everybody's doing, and they can see also, like it's something that's usually done very quickly. This is a free tool. It works on any device. It works. I've been in sessions where some people pull it up on their phone, some people pulled it up on laptops, and even on their computers. I've used this both at a distance and in person, where if you wanted to do something to break up, the classroom so that it's not always the same old. This tool can help students recall facts and prepare for additional or traditional quizzes and tests, because that's the key to being successful when they're taking their test, is being able to recall those facts. And then we're going to go ahead and log on. I'm going to show you the site. So when you log on to Quizzes, I tried to log on without using a username or password. If you have an account, you can create an account and use a username and password. It'll remember what you've done and the quizzes that you've created. And I tried to do one today without this so that you could go back when it's in the PD portal and you can look at it. So this first assessment, I thought, or this first quiz here it's called Get to Know Me with Math. And so what you can do is start like a live quiz session here, right here in the purple where it says this. You can assign it as homework. There's different ways you can use this. So if we started this with a live quiz, you can have it where you see the answers, and we're going to preview it. Whoops. No, we're not. This is what I was afraid of. Sorry, we're going to go this way. I didn't log in. So when you have the quizzes here, there's 7 questions to this. So this is something for like beginning level students, or even students in a math class, or the first time you meet with ESL students. And they start off with questions like, what is your house number? When is what your birthday is on? And they name the date of their birthday. They don't have to do year. How many pets do you have? So how old are you? And if you're like in my ESL class, this can range anywhere from 20 to 72. So it helps with a range of numbers. How many items are on the table? What is your favorite number? And then I like the last question. If you had $100, what would you spend it on? So this is just an example of a quiz. So we're going to go here under the Explore section. So you can see under Explore, there's lots of different quizzes that are already created that you can use. They have food trivia, 2 truths and a lie. That's always a fun one to do. Those are like icebreakers, or things you want to do if you want to start class quickly on something that doesn't take very long. They also have people have created math quizzes. Like you can see here's word problems on volume, 1 and 2 step equations. And each one of these resources tells you how many questions there are there. So you can see most of the questions are like 5 to 10 in that range. They also have English and language learners. So you can see some of the different quizzes that are already created that you can use. There's also a section for social studies, world languages. A lot of times our learners, they struggle with some of the English, like what is a possessive adjective, or using verbs, past, present. So some of these are just fun ways to practice what you're teaching in the classroom. There's also a section here for science. computer science and skills, career and technical education, creative arts, health and physical education. In here, a lot of times in the health and physical education is where you see a lot of the nutrition and some of the food different areas. So these are already created that you can use at any point. When you create them, you will, when you create it, you will get a code. And when you share the code, you share that with the students. The students go to quizzes.com and then they enter the code and then it pops up on their computer and you get to see that. They get to take the quiz and then you get to see the results. This is just like a fun area. Like they have my library. So I don't have anything saved, so there's no library because I'm not using my actual account. You can run reports like how are students doing? Like if you want to assign the quizzes as a homework instead of an in-class activity, it's a quick homework quiz that usually takes 5 to 10 minutes. They can do this and you can see a report, who does it, how well they do it. And so they have collections and you can, go through and use quizzes. Has anybody used quizzes before? Don't forget, if you would like to contribute, you have to unmute yourself.
I did.
Did your students like it? Do you like it?
Yeah, I like the fact that they have a lot ready-made games you can choose from.
Yeah, you don't have to do it
Good
yourself.
icebreaker. Yeah.
Yes. Anybody else? Don't forget to unmute yourself. Okay. Go back here and then we'll move forward. So the next one I'm going to talk about is called wordwall.net. I use Wordwall a lot. Especially in my ESL classes, the students really like the interactiveness of it. There are a lot of pre-created games and activities that you can use. They're interactive. They can be played on any web-enabled site. The templates can be completed individually or they can be teacher-led. It supports technology in the classroom, and the same questions can be used on various different websites. So we'll go ahead. I have 3 different ones up here. Just to show that there are different areas that you can use Wordwall in. There is one here on science vocabulary, on phases of matter. There's one which we're going to do on Thanksgiving pictures. And then there's a resources, putting words in order to make a sentence. So we're going to start with this one. And so when you go to Wordwall, I need to move the pictures here. When you go to Wordwall, you can, this X that's here, it's at the bottom, you can enlarge this so that it takes up your, your large screen. And then I have this set so that the image will be revealed slowly, and it can buzz when you answer a question. So if we press start, this is Thanksgiving pictures, just to show you like that it's a game. So what it starts is, what is this? And it starts with different pictures. And if you think you know what it is, go ahead and unmute yourself and yell out what you think it is.
Turkey.
Yeah, turkey. And then as you see, when he yelled this out, it goes through and then they choose A, B, or C so that they see the word also. So there's turkey, so you get it right. Then it'll go to, shows you what the picture looked like. And then the next one comes. We're not going to do the whole thing, don't worry. And as soon as you think you know, go ahead and yell it out. Anybody know?
Pilgrim.
Pilgrim, yes. Thank you. So when it comes through, it'll give us our 3 choices of our words. We click on it. And if I click the wrong one, that's what happens. and it'll come through and it'll show us the right answer and then the picture. So this is a nice vocabulary review, and I'm going to, you can see that there's tons of pictures, and hold on, I need to move my pictures. It's not letting me, sorry. This little box here where you can start it again, you can stop or resume. The other thing you can do is over here where it says switch template. You can change this so that it's a quiz. And if you go to the quiz, it's still the same thing. It gives you a picture and then 3 choices, and then you can pick the answer. You can have it as a game show quiz. Same type thing where it's the game show and then they go, what is this? And then this one also does by time. You know, you get extra points if you go fast. It also can do open the box. So open the box is another activity where you go through and somebody want to pick a number? So then it comes up and then who is this? And then they have to answer as a Native American florist teacher. So it's a different way of reviewing the exact same vocabulary. And I really like the word wall because it supports the technology, like the students can access, can do this. You can do it as a whole class. You can divide the group up into into groups and then go through it. So has anybody ever tried word wall on outside of like before? Like I said, I really like this one. I'll show you the science just so that you can see a little bit of the difference between them. We'll do this as a quiz and we'll just start it. And it's matter and phrases. So anything that has mass and takes up space. So you can see, is it volume, matter, mass, solid? Anybody care to take a guess? If we said matter, we get a check saying it's correct. There's only 10 words, but just to show you how you could use this, and then it goes, amount of space that matter takes up. So if we choose the wrong one, it tells us it's the wrong one, and then it tells us again the correct answer. So word wall has lots of different activities that you can use. And I want to go back to one of these games. I want to go to home. At the top here where you see it says word wall, and then it has home features, price plan, login, sign in. So if you go to the home page, this is where when I make up my own, I like to start here. If you scroll down, it tells you about the different templates. So these are all the different templates you can create. Our students, they love the random wheel. I have done practice in ESL classes, practicing speaking and in sentences and communicating by asking, like, would you rather? There's also an unjumble, which I really like because it helps the students. It gives you a bunch of words, and then you take the words and they have to move the words in the right order so that it makes a correct sentence. True and false is very difficult for a lot of our English language learners. So here's an activity you can do, true and false. They have matching, missing word. So you can see there's lots of different activities that you can do. And once you create one activity, you're then able to go through and switch it on the side to several different variety forms so that the system does it for you. Does anybody have any questions on word wall? No? Okay. Like I said, I think it's a very fun resource and the students really like it. The third resource that we're going to talk about today is https quill.org. So the www.quill.org. And the mission of Quill is to help students become strong writers and critical thinkers. A lot of our students struggle with writing. So this is a resource that can help with this. The one thing I will say that I saw on the news the other day, that when you're looking at different resources and you want to try them out, you want to make sure that when you're looking at the HTTPS, that it has an S at the end. I learned the other day that the S is what helps you know that it's a real site and not some random site out there. But for Quill, Quill is a research-based writing instruction. It's free. It's on a digital platform. The activities range from sentence construction, grammar skills, and there's supplemental writing exercises that can be completed in 10 to 15-minute sessions. This site is one that you can create as if you have a small group that you're working with and you'd like to assign everybody this, you can create a class on this and then you're able to monitor how the students are doing. Whoops, let's go here and I'm going to log on to it. Sorry, my computer came undone. Now is that better? You can see? Sorry about that. So this is the home page for Quill. And if you have a login, obviously you'd sign in. And when you sign in, it does remember you, it is free. There are the sections here of the learning tools. So it's Quill Connect. These are where you can combine sentences. There's also lessons already there. There's a diagnostic that the students can do. And when they complete the diagnostic, if the student has their username, you can assign username and passwords, and then it'll take them to where they need individual help. It's also has fix errors in a passage, which is something that the students have to do when they're taking the GED or the HiSET GED test. And there's also basic grammar practice. You can go through and explore the different curriculum if you'd like to see some of the features and activities that are there. And then the Teacher Center is where I'd like to go because here it has all our resources. It tells you how to get started to set up your classroom. There's also tutorials that walk you through how to set up and use a classroom. And I think that's a really nice feature here because this way you can become comfortable with it before you start using it. So we're going to just go here. I'm going to show you all resources. And then they go through and so they just launched a new ELL intermediate and advanced diagnostic. They have a student center, writing skills survey. And then down here is getting started. So here's some webinars. Here's they say back to school resources, helping you start when you first start class teaching. It has 6 diagnostic tools. We've used the diagnostic tools with our students and they like it because it's quick. The activities, once they complete the diagnostic and they go to do it, then it takes them and they can complete lessons in 10 to 15 minutes, which is nice and short and concise. And so like for here, like a diagnostic starter, there's 25 questions. It takes about 30 minutes for them to do. This is the longest activity that they could do on this, other than maybe a final assessment. And it says, so what does it covers? It covers like plural versus possessive noun, capitalization. And you can read here, the adjectives, adverbs, adverbs of manner. Commonly confused words is a nice activity because our students do get confused on there, and it's, etc. So, so this is just a really good tool. The diagnostic, they have different diagnostic levels. So you can choose, is this an elementary, a middle, or an upper level diagnostic that you'd like to give the students, to do. And what I wanted to do was show you a lesson here. So this is a sample activity we're just going to try a sample activity so that you can see what this does. So in this section, it says conjunctions of time and the time after, until, before. And then you can go through and you can either customize it or just select it as it is. So when you go through, here's your lesson. So this can help you as you're preparing to do your lesson. It gives you the objective, the lesson outline, and then it gives you some of the Common Core standards. And then if there's any prerequisites, do they need to know things before they do this? So this is there for the teacher, and then you can assign this to a student. And if you want to see the student view, this would be the student view. So we're saying we're joining and they're waiting for others to begin. And I'm sorry here. It's not going to let me join it here because I didn't create there, but it has the activities. So you can use this. The students really like this. So if you want to go here, and then it gives you an opportunity as you go through here, and it names your student. It gives you like discuss student answers. So it gives you specific answers where you can go through and then you can discuss those answers and you can turn it into a review practice with the whole group. So you can, it shows you here how you can lead the lesson, and you can see over on the left-hand side, it gives you all the steps you need in order to go through and complete using Quill. Does anybody have any questions? It's not going to let me do this. Any questions on Quill? Is anybody there? How about you? Have you used different resources that you'd like to share with the group? Don't forget to unmute yourself and share a resource with our group.
I've used Quizlet to create flashcard. It's good for ESL students. They can listen to it.
Yes. Thank you. Did anybody else?
We use Esl Library. It's
Okay, can you tell us about it, please?
You can look up different lessons on different topics if you're teaching grammar or writing or vocabulary or anything like that. I think you can do a little walkthrough of the website, but you get the best deal if you sign up and get a subscription. It's not that expensive, but there's also some of the stuff is free. But then, you know, it's like if you want more, you have to pay for it. And also some of our teachers and tutors love to use Ventures Arcade. It's an interactive, you know, website. I mean, even if you don't use Ventures, the book, I mean, it goes best with that, but you can pull out some nice activities, kind of similar to what you showed like with Quizlet, that it's very fun and interactive. So those are my 2 suggestions.
Thank you. I love it. That's awesome.
Oh,
Anybody
there's
else?
another one called Kahoot.
Yes.
It's a fun game for whole class to play.
Can you explain Kahoot?
Oh, I've
Try.
not used it for a while. So you create a game, or you know, questions with multiple choice answer, and all the students can answer together like a competition on their phone, and they will have, you know, whoever answered fast would get higher score, and by the end you see who ranks first or last after the end of the game. I don't know if I explained that well, but it's mainly like a competition game. It's good for like review at the end of the lesson to see how much they learned.
I've never used the online one. We've done Kahoot where we used it on large popsicle sticks, the large craft sticks, and we've written questions on it, and then we've used it that way. So we took it to an in-class activity where they like chose a stick and then they answered the question on it. And if they got it right, they got to keep the stick. And then if they missed it, they had to put it back in the pile for somebody else to actually use it also. But thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
I saw Nancy Cole put a couple of things in the chat. Do you want to talk about those?
Okay, I didn't see them. So there.
I'm not sure my microphone is working.
Yes, it is. We can hear you.
No, I've used Bamboozle. It's a site that's been created by a teacher, and teachers create their own games there. It has several different modes. It has a preview mode that you can look when you create your games or you use someone else's games. It has a study mode where the students can go and study the particular topic that you're trying to share. And then it has a game mode where you can set up competition as many as 4 teams. And I think if you get the paid version, you can do as much as 8 teams to compete. It's usually a lot of fun, and I use it in all 3 of the modes. Padlet is something that you can basically put together resources for your students that they can access themselves. I put flashcards up there. The link to Bamboozle I put up there. There's anything that you want to share with the students, you can post on Padlet.
Thank you. I never heard of Bamboozle.
Yeah, there's probably a million games out there created.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, and when we're doing the games, we have to be mindful because there's free versions for most games. And then you just want to be careful you're not purchasing, a lot of games. So if you do decide you want to purchase something, you have to be mindful of, use the free ones and make sure it's something you really like and really want to use. But there are free versions for lots of, from just about anything we want. Somebody had also placed ESL Library. Anybody know that one?
Yeah, that was the one I mentioned about the lesson plans that you can pull up.
Oh, it is. My
and
apologies.
Also, you can. What I love about ESL Library is that for supplemental instruction, what I do sometimes is that for a tutor pair, like they work with the tutor, and then if they're struggling with, I don't know, simple present tense, then I can send lessons to the student, and then give feedback. It's just additional tutoring, by me, so the tutor can go on with the regular lesson, and then whatever they get stuck on, I can send additional lessons, and then I can give my feedback, and it counts as hours, like tutoring hours. And then ESL Library will keep track of the time the student spends on it. You can see how many attempts it took to finish the lesson. So more and more students are interested in it. And again, we have a subscription for this because our teachers are using it as well. So then I asked that our tutors could have access, or me at least.
Yeah.
So it's really good. And I also wanted to mention another one, if I may.
Please.
What I find is sometimes when our tutor pairs get together, it's nice to have a little icebreaker at the beginning, ask some questions, chit chat, just warm up, or, have a writing activity or whatever that you need questions for. But sometimes it's hard to think of those questions.
Yes.
But let's say the topic of the day would be our hobbies. There's a website where they have like thousands of questions on every topic imaginable. I have to sort through them. Some of the questions are a little bit like, what? No, not that one. But it's called iteslj.org, and it's a project by the TESL Journal. I think it's Canadian, I'm not sure, but they have a ton of stuff for ESL classrooms. And I love it that you would say, like, what would you do if, and then there would be like 100 questions in the topic. So you could pick out 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, put them on little flashcards. And if you're in person, you know, that could be your little icebreaker conversation or whatever you want to use a ton of questions for.
Can you spell it again slower?
It's iteslj.org. Now, again, this is something that you have, yes, thank you. It's something that you have to weed through a little bit. Some of the questions can be a little bit maybe for younger audiences or whatever, but you know, when you have 1,000 questions, you'll find about 800 that you like.
Thank you for sharing. That's
Sure.
really, it is, I like to start classes the same way, or sessions, even tutoring sessions where, you know, a little icebreaker, you know, just to get everybody comfortable and relaxed. Does anybody have any other resource? This is great. Any other resources you'd like to share? For those that you shared, thank you so much. That I love learning new resources, and the best place to learn is from each other. Since this is our first tutoring session, we wanted to see if there's any other topics or what topics you would like us to have presenters speak about. So are there any topics that you're interested in that you think would be a great subject for us to do a webinar on, one of our Tuesday webinars?
See, Yvonne is raising her hand.
Yeah, I still haven't found a place where I raise my hand, but.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's quite, I'm still learning to do this.
That's great. I'm glad Rachel caught it.
At the present time, I'm working with a woman who is an English speaker. However, her reading skills are 3rd to 4th grade. So I'm trying to get her build up to where we can get her a GED is her goal. And I know this is different from most of the people are working with non-English speakers. So I'm in a little different place, but I'm paying attention and taking notes. I need to know if anybody else out there has experience with really low-level English students. That kind of thing would be very helpful to me, because we're reading through, at the present time, we're reading like Anne of Green Gables, and we're going through books and working on words. But I would appreciate some more help with trying to teach her, trying to get her up to level. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Does anybody have a suggestion for Yvonne?
We use a Reading Levels. It's an online resource where you could pull up an interesting article and then you can dial the word count down or up. So I think there are 3 or 4 levels, which means the same article would be written for, you know, like a lower level learner, mid-level learner, more advanced learner. And then there are, you know, pre-reading questions and comprehension questions with it. So it's called readinlevels.com or .org. Yes.
Read
and also
N-I-N.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Reading Levels. And also Newsella is the same concept. It's an online resource where you can, again, you can do the same thing, that you can dial the word count, the level of the vocabulary. It's really fun to see how it just kind of rewrites itself, and it takes out the SAT adjectives and stuff and then replaces it with lower level vocabulary. So we have used those. And also, if you're looking for a book, I love using Journey to Success. I think it's a New Readers Press publication. I picked that up at one of our PACE conferences and used it, and I think that's where I met Lynn, and I've used it ever since. I would, you know, I mean, I'm glad to share any resources we might have with you, Yvonne, if you know, if you'd like, but those 2 are really good if you'd like to check them out.
I'm going to look those up. Thank you so much.
I will say, I think Newsella is mostly a paid subscription site now, so you might want to talk to your tutor coordinator about that. But if you like something similar, I'm going to put ReadWorks here.
Oh, I was going to do that. Thank you.
ReadWorks is a free site. It doesn't have the same thing with the levels, but you can search by levels.
Actually, it does. You can change in ReadWorks. You can change to get the same article on different levels.
ReadWorks, READ, WORKS.
Yes.
Exactly.
It also, ReadWorks also has a section where it has, you can choose just articles, but it also has different sections where it has the comprehension questions already developed for you, so that you can be asking more than just your, basic questions. So it has some questions, and you can print. Now you have to do it individually, each of the articles, but if you have a really low level, a middle level, and a higher level, you can print the same article at different levels. And then as you're working with people, be mindful of who you're asking which questions to, so that everybody's getting the same topic. I use ReadWorks a lot. I think it's a fun resource, and you can they have units, they have lesson plans, they have, like I said, you can go in and pick a grade level where she's at or he is at, and find articles that are specifically to that. Or if you have a student who is interested in a specific topic, you can type in that topic, and it might have some articles that you can then use to help teach vocabulary, reading comprehension, and even take it into writing.
Perfecto.
So I have this series of books. I typed it into the chat. They're called Who Is? And they're novels, and they're wonderful. There's like tons of them. And they're all short novels that are down to lower reading levels. And this one we're reading now is about Barack Obama, but there's Frederick Douglass, there's one about football, there's one about the White House, and there are a whole series of like short novels. And I've been using them. That's the people that I'm tutoring reading with. And I think that's the website I put in the chat, whohq.com. But these are great because you can read, it's like a chapter or two a week. And there's like thousands, like hundreds of different topics. So right now we're reading Who is Barack Obama? And reading level, I would say, is maybe 4th or 5th grade. And they're just terrific because they're more interesting than articles, and they're about, like there's one about Alexander Hamilton, and there's one about the Frederick Douglass and Mahatma Gandhi, and Underground Railroad. There's one about that. So we use those a lot. And then there's a series called Road to Work. I'm just showing it to you. And it has units that are like 2 pages long, and it'll have about people's jobs and how they get the jobs. And then it has questions, fill in the blanks, and vocabulary afterwards. So it's really great for lower level readers to use.
It's also a great way to include employment.
Yeah.
And all of that. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it tells like what they need for the job, if they need a GED, and what they get paid. And, then it has check your understanding. It has questions. It has vocabulary, that kind of stuff. So it's
These are great. I'm having a doggy problem, but thank you.
Okay.
Betty.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. These are great resources. Rachel, is there a way we could share the resource list after it to everybody who participated, or?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm going to collect everything that's in the chat, and I'll try to find the actual websites for all of these, and I'll put them in the course on the PD portal along with the recording, so that it'll make it easier for people to find them back.
Thank you. Because these are great resources, and there's a couple I never heard of. I love talking to people all over.
Sorry, everybody, but I've got all kinds of stuff written down now to help my student. Thank you. Thank you.
That's good. I'm glad that's helpful.
Thank you. And then here's a couple of other resources. A couple we did not talk about. If you're looking for, and I'm not going to show them because we're running out of time, but there are 2 math sources we added here, mathaids.com and mathisfun.com. And the math aids, what's nice about these 2 resources is that you can create worksheets or a series even online where they can complete them online. You can request like you want 5 questions or 15 questions, whatever you're looking for, the types of problems, the level of the problems, the language. And so you can either use these as a worksheet or online. If you're working with somebody online, you can pull it up on your screen and be able to complete it. So there are lots and lots of resources available. Oops.
Yeah. And that the maths is fun. You'll notice the extra S. I forget if they're from Canada or Britain or something, but
yes.
But they also have some really nice explanations for why things work. So I would sometimes read those before I taught a class, even if I didn't actually use the website in class, because it was a nice way to get a different explanation for different math topics.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so if you're going to do math is fun, that second S is not needed, or the first S isn't needed there. It's actually math is fun.
Yeah, it was maths is fun for a long time.
Does anybody have any additional questions? Yes, live worksheet is an awesome resource also for math. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody else have any suggestions about topics we can use in the future? If you think of any topics you would like, that you think would be an interesting topic that you'd like to learn about, or you're an expert at and you would like to lead a session on it, if you can contact either Rachel or myself, we'd love to get in touch and have you be able to present or give us a topic that we can use. So I appreciate everybody coming, and then Rachel has a couple of things she'd like to talk about.
Yeah, so I put a link in the chat for a survey, and we do ask that after you view these, even if you're viewing this in the future, if you're watching the recording, to please go to the survey and fill it out, because it just helps us know who is interested in these webinars and what sorts of things you would like to learn about. And if there's anything that we can do better to make this work better for you. And next month's webinar, I'm going to be leading and Lynn will be backing me up. So we'll switch roles. And we're going to be talking about responding to student work. So one of the things as a tutor that you often face is your student comes in and, maybe they did some homework, or maybe they worked for like 10 minutes on something in your session. So how you can look at that and get the most out of it to really make sure that you're instructing them at their level and making it a positive experience for them. So I'll be talking about that in December. So there'll be December 14th. And I believe that is the end of today's session. If you want help accessing the PD portal, feel free to stay on, and I'll be just giving a little guided tour of the course in the PD portal. Otherwise, I'm going to stop the recording and you can feel free to leave if you're done for today.